Hello, welcome back to the Three Thumbs Up podcast. I am your host, Owen Beatty, and I have three thumbs. Get over it. It's Monday, September 18th, 2017, and I'm here to talk about it. It being the scary friggin' clown movie I'm sure you've heard of by now. You've either seen the terrifying commercial for it or some clown craze last year around this time. It was balls to the wall, the scariest movie I've seen this year and in the past 5 years. This movie speaks to me on a very scary level because I have a very awful fear of clowns. And I've heard people say, oh, it wasn't really that scary, or like they never had jump scares. I thought it was terrifying for all the people in the world who have a crippling fear of clowns or the slightest fear of clowns in general. There's some like distaste to it. There's like it's creepy to see like clowns in general are I'm sorry to anybody working in the clown industry, but you need to change your profession. It's not going to work out. Scary clown? Sure, you want to be a scary clown during Halloween? Go for it. But it's not going to work as your profession anymore. It's just not going to work. I went to see this movie on the day after it came out, Friday the 8th of September, and I went the 9th with my friend. And we got there, it was packed. It was so packed. And we got our seats. We were up right at the top of the theater, and I had this weird thing in my body. My bones were like chilled to the touch, and we there was a door to our right, and I was scared that a clown was gonna come out. Some guy in a clown suit was gonna come out and be like, booga booga booga. I would have sharted myself because the movie alone did that. But if somebody did that, I have a huge fear of clowns, like I've stated before. And last year, when the whole clown thing was happening, that just didn't help. I was very, very paranoid. I was so paranoid, I kept a knife in my basement because I sleep in the basement of the house that I sleep in or live in. It's not my house. It's my dad says because I don't pay no bills. I don't do that. So I just occupy it at the moment. I kept a knife in my basement, like one of the sharp ones. And I was so paranoid. One day, it was so foggy out, like, I was like, this is it. I'm gonna die. This is it for me. It looked like Silent Hill, and I'm sure a clown was there to get me. And part of me really wanted that to happen. Not the clown getting me part, but me seeing a clown, because I would pull out my phone. I'm like, I'm going viral, mom. See you on television, mom. And where I live, in my city, there was a clown sighting at one point. I'm like, oh my gosh. I Part of me really wanted to see one because I hate myself. One, two, I hate myself. Three, it would have been terrifying and a great story. And back to it, the movie. I think that was some sort of promotion. Like Stephen King sent out some people to be like creepy friggin' clowns, like quote unquote luring children into the woods, blah 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 blah. And I feel he put out some like marketing people to like put that stigma in the air, and I think people took it way too far and people went out on their own and tried to kill people. Like, do you know how terrifying it would have been if you would have been in a car and you were driving down this dark road? Because why would you do that? And a guy with a chainsaw and a clown mask comes out. No, just kill me. I would not want to deal with that. Like I said, I am absolutely terrified of clowns. And do you know what? Do you want to know why I'm terrified of clowns? I'm not terrified of spiders, snakes, anything like that. I'm terrified of clowns because they're human-sized and they're people. When I was a small little boy, a teeny tiny little potato, I was alone at my house and I was just in the living room and there was a movie on by the name of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And I watched it. I thought it was on some different channel, like I thought it was going to be a comedic movie, blah, 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 blah. And it was a very cheesy movie, but that's where the fear started. Like spiders, pff, snakes, pff, whatever. I mean, poisonous ones, like I don't want to die. Like I like living, but they don't really affect me. Like I see spiders all the time, and some of my friends are like, "Oh, you're scared of clowns? Like what the heck?" I'm like, "Clowns are murderers. Clown lives do not matter at all. Like nada, like zilch. They don't matter. Like in the slightest." And people saying it wasn't scary, the people saying that are people that get scared by Paranormal Activity 1, 2, 3, 4, 700, whatever, how many they've made. Movies like that just jump scare galore. It, the movie, used jump scares when they were needed. They weren't just used to just scare the audience. They were used to drive the character of Pennywise, like using the young kid's brain against them and just popping up at like some friggin' time. Oh my god. Like, I'm not gonna spoil anything at all. It was a fantastic movie. Read the book, watch the movie, watch the older TV miniseries. Also terrifying. Tim Curry is the best. And the guy who played uh, Pennywise in the New Mooney. I'm not starting this again, I swear to God. I swear to God. In the new movie, uh, the man who played him, Bill Skarsgård, I believe is his name. One, he's some of the cast members have said he's like the nicest guy in the world with his makeup on, and I just couldn't. If a clown was being really nice to me and like very genuine, like trying to help me, like no, I just couldn't. I have this irrational fear in my brain, like no, no, leave me alone. And Skarsgård looks slightly more psychotic without the makeup on. Like he's got that scary face. It's like a baby face, but it's a scary face. Like I'm gonna chop you up into tiny pieces and throw you on some porch. Blah. It was a fantastic movie. Oh, I'm not scared of clowns though. Like this isn't gonna scare me at all. Uh, my friend who doesn't really get terrified by anything, she, her favorite movie is Silent Hill, and she really loved it. Like it wasn't stupid. It wasn't like supernatural, super what paranormal activity. Why do I keep saying super? Not supernatural. Mm-mm. Paranormal activity. Movies like that just use jump scares to like with no meaning. Like if I were to use a jump scare, it would be to drive characters and such. I wouldn't just use it to be like, "Bleh!" Like, that's stupid. Pennywise the clown isn't stupid. He's methodical. It's methodical. I don't know. It's 2017. He can be a he or a she. I don't really care. Clown lives don't matter though. There isn't a lot to talk about on this podcast, like what happened this week. Preseason is here, ladies and gentlemen. Preseason is here. The first game of the preseason, the Los Angeles Kings versus the Vancouver Canucks. The Kings lost in overtime. Brock Besser scored the overtime goal, which was a beauty. The day after that, it's just incredible to see hockey back. I didn't watch much of that game because preseason is starting to get me hyped, but I'm not totally like gonna sit down for 3 hours and watch a preseason game. But I did watch the Golden Knights whoop the Canucks 9-4. That was an awesome game. I started watching after the first period. Tyler Wong scored the first goal in Vegas history. Like, it's not going to go on the record books, but it's technically their first preseason exhibition game. He ended up scoring a hat trick. The first goal from Tyler Wong, Cody Glass. He is. I really hope he makes the lineup this year. Vegas has to have their quote unquote franchise guy to start off like their franchise. They want that guy. Guys like Marc-Andre Fleury, Vadim Shipachyov, who I don't know if he's going to totally 100% connect to players, but he's definitely going to connect to KHL fans who do watch the NHL and Russian fans and people like that. Because I, well, people always say, like, who is Vadim Shipachyov? He played in the KHL for years. He was never drafted in the NHL. He played in the KHL. I would call him a KHL legend. Like, he's very, very good. He's very talented. He signs a deal for 2 years, I believe, with Vegas. He's going to make the lineup. He's going to be the first line center for probably the year. Like, he is a very good player. I've seen highlight reels of him during the World Championship. He was like number 1, 2 in the points race up until Russia lost to Canada, I believe. He had so many. He's an assist machine. Like, I see it. Like, holy moly. And Vegas, he is older. He's 29, I believe. 29, 30. He's going to be their first line center, like I said. But they want that young guy to define their first season. And they have a lot of young talent, considering they drafted very well in the draft this past year, and they picked a very solid lineup, considering the players that were in the expansion draft. The draft was fantastic. They picked in the first round Cody Glass, Nick Suzuki, and Eric Brandstrom, who is a Swedish defenseman. He's tinier, and that was one of the players I was hoping Montreal got because I loved him. I've seen highlight reels of him in the SHL. Like, he's a really good player. But he's tiny. He slipped off the radar, and he was just a few picks before Montreal picked, and it sucked because he looked really fantastic. And that was one of the players I was hoping Montreal acquired in the draft. But Vegas picked him up. My favorite team in the NHL, the Vegas Golden Knights, picked up three amazing players in the first round. And after that, I don't know their drafting history. I know in the seventh round, Dallas picked up Ferguson. I forget his first name. David Ferguson, and then traded him and a second round pick to Vegas for Mark Mathot. Ferguson played the first game for Vegas, and he played quite good. Let in 4 goals, but the other goaltender for Vancouver was Thatcher Demko. Preseason doesn't matter. They looked like good goaltenders. Ferguson drafted in the seventh round. You never really know. You can't define a player in their first year of play or when they get drafted. You just can't. You have to wait until they become players like 5 years down the road, see how they're doing. Like, players that are drafted in the first round are going to have higher expectations on them. All around, like, they're prompted to be better, they have better potential. But you see guys like Henrik Lundqvist, Patrick Hornquist, Pavel Datsuk, I think he went in the very later rounds, Pekka Rinne, players like that really define those later rounds. Like you're not always going to pick great guys in the later rounds. But no pick is a throwaway pick. All picks are valuable. Like Montreal, I'm pretty sure. The draft before this past draft, when they acquired Andrew Shaw, they traded a second round pick to Chicago, and that turned out to be Alex DeBrincat, 50-goal scorer in the OHL, I believe. That's the OHL. He plays in the OHL. Yeah, OHL. Ontario Hockey League. So you can never have a throwaway pick. I hate it when people say that, like, seventh round pick, whatever. You never know who's going to be that next guy. Jamie Benn was a fifth round pick, I believe. He's best player on Dallas, I think. And then you got Tyler Seguin, Radulov. Like I said before, Dallas has a great lineup and everything. What was I talking about? I lost my train of thought. This is not good podcasting, Owen. You were talking about throwaway picks. Throwaway picks. They're not a thing. They're just not a thing. I wouldn't say they are. They're all important. They can turn out to be something. Right? Like first round picks have a better overall chance to make it to the big leagues because those teams had their eyes on them. Like 1 to 3, those are the top rounds, right? But you can't just throw away a pick. So, guys like Tyler Wong, who had a hat trick, which is pretty cool to see. You know, you never know. He might make his way into the lineup, possibly, if he continues to impress during the preseason. He looked like one of the best players on the ice. And Cody Glass, he's gonna make the lineup. I really hope he does for Vegas. You want that young guy. You want that poster child. You want that poster boy. Every team has one. Edmonton has Connor McDavid. Pittsburgh has Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby back when he was Sid the Kid. Like an actual kid, like 18. Dallas has Seguin, the quote-unquote partier, I've heard. So You want that player. You never know if he's going to be the guy or just a really good guy because he is a really good player. And I really hope he proves that this year because everybody in the draft seemed to want him, but he did fall to the sixth overall pick to Vegas. So there's there's some hope there. You don't know. And we have a lot of preseason games here tonight. We have the Hurricanes versus the Buffalo Sabres, 7 p.m. Capitals versus Devils, 7 p.m. Maple Leafs versus Senators, 7:30. Islanders versus Rangers, 7 p.m. Wild versus Jets at 8 p.m. And the Montreal Canadiens versus the Boston Bruins at 7 p.m. Am I going to watch that game in about an hour? I think I will. I'll watch it. I'll play it on my TV. I'm not really doing much at the moment. I will watch it. Montreal had a split squad game yesterday, and there's a lot of things coming out of that game. One of them being Charles Hudon is impressing the coach. 3 assists. It was a split game, but against teammates. They want to impress, right? Charles Hudon, like I said, he can be a goal scorer. I'm sure he can. Like if I really hope he does make the lineup. I want him to score 15 goals. Do what Lehkonen did last year. Like nobody knew who he was, even though he had an amazing playoff run with Frölunda a few years back. They had like their most points in a playoffs ever. I believe it was Frölunda. Do what he did. Come out of nowhere. I'm hoping. I've seen him play before in the AHL, and I think he has what it takes. And the split squads. I'll read off the lineups from yesterday. On Team Rouge, the goalies Carey Price, Charlie Lindgren, defensemen Zach Redmond, Carl Alsner, Jeff Petrie, Jacob Jarabek. I said that wrong. Jerbak. Brett Lernout, Eric Jelena, who did bring his physical side to that game. I've been reading. He wants to impress. He's on a PTO, a player tryout contract. Maybe makes his way into the lineup. 7th, 8th defenseman for Montreal, possibly. And Noah Jolson, who was the captain in the rookie showcase for Montreal. You have your forwards Brendan Gallagher, Torrey Mitchell, Philip Daniel, Jacob Delarose, Alex Galchenyuk, Michael McCarron, Paul Byron Fraze, Daniel Audette, Jeremy Gregoire, Andrew Shaw, and Martin Rayway. On Team Blanc, your goalies are Zachary Fucali and Al Montoya. Defensemen Shea Weber, Jordy Ben, Mark Streit, Joe Morrow, Matt Taormina, Victor Mete, who I'm going to talk about soon, and Brandon Davidson. Your forwards, Peter Holland, who we picked up in free agency on a very nice contract. He has some skill. I see it, AHL forward. Thomas Plekanec, you know my thoughts on him. Have I said my thoughts about him on the podcast? Do I want to get into that? He's aging and isn't exactly how he was years ago. It's a dead contract. I would trade him for a bag of pucks, but we really don't have any other centermen. I looked when I was writing down my lineup for this season. I was I was dumbfounded, and I looked at the lineup and the roster. I'm like, is this it? This is it. Wait, no, this can't be. I looked and looked at the lineup. It looks like we're missing a lot, and that's not good. I'm a huge fan of the Montreal Canadiens, and it just doesn't look nice. I looked at the lineup, and I can see it just looking at the roster, the names on our roster. Even though we have talent on our roster, we don't have enough. And I can see that. It's clear as day. But it is very nice when we get bright spots on the team. As I said, Thomas Plekanec, Andre Martinson, the fourth line center for the worst team in the NHL, the Colorado Avalanche, still with Montreal. We signed him, but not Radulov. How? Or Markov? How is... I don't ever... People are trying to defend him. Like, he made the NHL. He's one of the two Norwegian players in the NHL. And who else is it? He plays for the Rangers. Matt Zuccarello, I believe. Those are the two Norwegian players in the NHL. I don't know why he keeps getting chances. We traded for him. We got, coach sees something in him. I don't. There isn't a lot of upside. His size, his weight, he can do that, but I don't see him fitting into the lineup this year, like, at all. And I'm glad, because I don't want him in the lineup. He doesn't bring what Montreal needs. Like, yeah, he's physical, and it's always nice to have physical players, but we have a lot more physical players than the fourth line center on the worst team in the NHL, Colorado. We traded Sven Andrighetto for him, who went on a very great hot streak with Colorado after we traded him. Of course that happened. My luck. Next we have Nikita Sherbak, very, very nice little player. Daniel Carr, who was one of my favorites 2 years ago. Remember when Montreal had that awful season? Carey Price, like, his leg exploded. PK Subban's neck exploded. Quote unquote injured later in the season, never played a game with Montreal because Alexei Emelin hit PK Subban's head with his big buttocks. Daniel Carr scored his first goal in his first game on his first shot in his first shift against Carolina, which was really cool. I remember it vividly. It was on my birth. Was it on my birthday? I don't know if it was on my birthday, but me and my friends were at Boston Pizza and we were watching it on the TV. And he scored. He's been one of my low-key favorites, or yeah, I can say that. His name, like, I want him in the lineup, but I think he would be better in the AHL this year with the Laval Rockets. Next, you have Charles Hudon. I already talked about him. Don't want to talk about him. Ooh. Marcus Essenschmid. Did I say that right? I think I did. No idea who he is. Atari Lehkonen. We already know he's going to crack the lineup this season. Amazing player. Max No Clutch Pacioretty. Alice Hemsky, who I have trashed a few podcasts ago on my first one when I said you let go of guys like Markov and Radulov and sign Mark Streit and Alice Hemsky. But Alice Hemsky, if he has some skill, of course. He did crack the NHL. Is he going to be Semin of a few years ago, where yeah, he's gonna be great. You know, he used to be a great player. He's gonna step into the lineup. He's gonna be great. Uh, he'll probably get a spot on the Montreal Canadiens just because of his age and his career. Blah 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 blah. And then you have Jonathan Drouin and Anthony Waked. Waked? Yes. So, Victor Mete. Victor Mete. So that split squad game is most of our roster. Like some of our best players on there. Right? Right, right. Get that. Like I didn't read that for nothing. I was giving my thoughts. That's basically our lineup. Or our roster. I wouldn't say that's our lineup because that's way too many players. That's two teams. Yeah. Victor Mete. He has been playing a lot with Shea Weber. He is a left-handed defenseman, born in 98, 19 years old. Was he drafted by Montreal? Yeah, I think, yeah. Yeah, he was drafted in the 4th round by the Montreal Canadiens in 2016, 100th overall. And let me tell you something. He has been playing a lot, like every game with Shea Weber. Shea Weber is a right-handed defenseman. Victor Mete is smaller, but here's the thing. He looks really good. Like, he looks really good. He played on the London Knights. That might be boosting his stats because London is a very good team. They have a lot of really good players, really good goalies. But he put up 44 points, 15 goals, 29 assists in 50 games. That's really good. Puck moving defenseman, smaller. You know, if maybe he can put some weight on. There's nothing he can do about his height. Maybe get some stilts. He's 5'10", 180 pounds. Put on some weight. Put on some muscle. He's an Ontario boy. Woodbridge. Defenseman. Maybe I really want to see him crack the lineup for Montreal this season. Would that not be crazy? You gave Sergachev 9 games last season. Nine, I think. I really should have searched that up. Tampa Bay prospect, Mikhail Sergachev, cracked lineup in the first game and played his 9 games out. But why don't you give a guy who's proving himself, who has a lot of upside to him, a chance with Shea Weber? If you put him with Shea Weber, a small, fast guy who can carry the puck and doesn't always have to be physical because Shea Weber does that, because which defenseman are you going to cover? Shea Weber or Victor Mete? You're gonna cover Shea Weber because Shea Weber is lethal. If he gets the puck at the blue line, he's gonna slap the hell out of that puck right into your net. Probably break a few hands on the way in. Brendan Gallagher. Give Victor Mete a shot. I've been reading on him. He seems really nice. He seems like a good player. 44 assists in 50 games in the OHL. That's not bad. That's really good for a defenseman. I want to see him get a shot this season. Just give him 10 games flat. 10 games with Shea Weber or somewhere in the Montreal Canadiens lineup like you did with Sergachev. Right? Maybe give 2 guys a chance starting the season. Charles Hudon, Victor Mete, similar to Lehkonen and Sergachev last season. One was a forward, one was a defenseman. One made it in the NHL, one went back to the OHL, the Windsor Spitfires. And Lehkonen played in the NHL and he had a great season. Do it again. Maybe they both make it. Maybe they both work in the NHL. I just give them a shot. A couple games this season, and if you don't like them, send them back down. You're not going to lose anything. I would rather see Charles Hudon get more time than Victor Mete. Because Victor Mete is 19. He's very young. He has a lot of upside. Charles Hudon needs this more than him. Charles Hudon is past the prospect stage. He's older. And he needs to have that shot. I'll be ecstatic if he gets a shot at the NHL level. Like, he's had games, and he gets points in those games. Charles Hudon, give him a shot, Claude Julien. Do it. Do it. Do it. Victor Mete, young, blah, 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 blah. Victor Mete. Shots. Do it. Now. Marc Bergevin. Do it. Day 79. 79 days. 79 days ago. July 1st. My math better be correct. July 1st, Canada Day, 150. Yeah. Not only that. The day Jágr slipped into free agency, left the Florida Panthers. We all remember that day. There were some deals. There were some things done. Jágr has gone 79 days. 78 days too many without an NHL contract. I've said this every podcast. Someone sign him. Dang it. Arizona. New Jersey. Florida again. Don't go back to Florida. They are going to be awful this season. 79 days. Vegas. You want to make your NHL arena famous already? Put an NHL legend in that arena. Put him on the rink. Sell him at the deadline if you want. Put him on a 1-year contract. Someone will take Jaromir Jágr. He's not worth that much. Like, if you're going to trade him, you'll probably get a third or a second or something. But you want to bring that thing called legend status. You want to bring that Jaromir tag? Jaromir. Who's Jaromir? Is he a new player? Jaromir Jágr. You want the Jaromir Jágr tag. Remember, I talked about this plenty 2 podcasts ago. And I'm not doing another PSA. Training camp has already started. Preseason has already started. I just want Jágr to go somewhere before it's too late. I don't want this to be a Brodeur situation from a few years back where nobody would sign him and he went to St. Louis and retired. I don't want that to be the situation here. I want somebody to pick him up so he can play his games. Right? I talk about Jaromir Jágr this much because I don't want his career to go down like this. Free agency. Who else? Jerome McGinley? He's still in free. He hasn't retired yet. Right? I haven't heard anything, like, at all. He's still a player. Maybe he wants to go play for Team Canada next year and then sign somewhere. Maybe. Shane Doan retired and he's probably going to play for Team Canada because they're all Canadian. Does Jaromir Jágr want to play for the Czech Republic? I mean, of course you want to play for your home country, right? But where he has made his mark is the NHL. He has a few more milestones to break, and I know he can do it. He's getting older. He's been old for 10 years. Someone sign him, please. I don't want to see him slip into the KHL again. It's not fun. Speaking of not fun, the Boston Bruins sign David Pastrnak to a 6-year deal, 2017, 2018 to 2022 to 2023. The contract has devil written all over it. $6.66 million over 6 years. That is a $40 million contract. And why is this contract so important? Not only for the Boston Bruins, great pickup, David Pastrnak, such a good player. A contract like this for a Western player, not only for... This really doesn't have to do a lot with Montreal, but I like talking about the NHL altogether because there isn't a lot going on right now. But there's a lot of contracts coming up at the end of the season. Players who have been like David Pastrnak, William Nylander, Nikolai Ehlers, who are both Western players. Western players? I said Western, oh my god. Never eat slimy worms, so they'd be East. Never eat shredded wheat, right? I can't. I just can't. Geography is not my strong suit. Eastern players. Never eat. Eastern players. Eastern. Don't worry. Eastern players. Because they have a different aura about them than just regular players, right? Like restricted free agents this next off season. That contract is going to help with their standard contracts. Because if you got a $9 million, ooh, that would not help with their contracts. But at the end of the day, it does come down to how well those kind of players do this next season, whose contracts come down. Also, going back a long time ago, why didn't the Oilers sign Draisaitl first? You could have got him a lot cheaper, probably 7.5, right? Something a lot cheaper than what he got. And then you have Connor McDavid. He's making an unreal amount. He deserves it, but he's making an unreal amount of money. You put that precedent that, oh, Draisaitl, I'm really good. I deserve at least $2 million less than that, right? Like, I'm really good. I helped with a lot of his success this season. Right? See, and this David Pastrnak contract helps with contracts like that because I don't want another lockout. That sucks. And 2020 is the season, ladies and gentlemen. Start the countdown right now. T-minus 3 years until the next lockout. Don't let it happen, please. I need hockey in my life. I don't want to watch NHL 21 videos, 20 videos where they're playing franchise mode and right? That's not fun. I need hockey in my life. And these contracts are helping. I mean, screw the Leafs. Screw the Winnipeg Jets. I like the Winnipeg Jets. Screw the Leafs. Lose Willie Nylander. Don't like the Leafs in the slightest. Lose Willie Nylander. Get screwed. So that's a nice contract. That's a really good contract for David Pastrnak. Good on you, Boston, but I really wish you got screwed over. I don't like you at all. We have a trade, ladies and gentlemen. Not right now, but it happened yesterday or today. Yesterday. Let me check. Yesterday, the Florida Panthers and Arizona Coyotes completed a trade just as Tring spraining was getting into full swing. Panthers sent Jason Demers to the Coyotes for Jamie McGinn. Their contracts, Jason Demers, $3,937,500, and Jamie McGinn making $3,333,333. Okay, what is with all these contracts like 6666666 3333333? It makes me mad. Like, don't. I mean, 3 million. I would take that in a heartbeat. But it just, ooh, I don't know. It's all these weird contracts. And their stats: Jason Demers had 28 points in 81 games last season, nine goals, 19 assists, 53 penalty minutes with Florida, and a minus 14. Ooh. That's his worst plus minus in a few years. Ooh, that is with Florida. Florida did suck a lot last year. He is 29 years old. $4 million. Oh, that's a lot for that. That's a lot for Jason Demers. Like, that's a lot of money. $4 million for minus 14 and 28 points. Like, I would take him for $2 million. $2.2 million or something around there. Like, he's a steady defenseman. He's proved that. He's not a huge point producer, but he's a solid defenseman. He's 6'1", 200 pounds. He's big. So, contract's kind of weird. And then you have Jamie McGinn, former Colorado Avalanche, former Buffalo Sabre, former Anaheim Duck, former San Jose Shark, former Ottawa 67s. Last year he had 17 points in 72 games, minus 23 with Arizona. I'm not surprised. Oh, that hurts. That's like not fun playing in Arizona or having that. Making $3.333333333333333 million. I mean, he's great in NHL 17. That's all I'm saying. He's a stud. But I mean, they're just trading cap, I would say. Both third pairing players, right? Jamie McGinn being a right winger, left winger. Jason Demers being a defenseman. I knew that. I just don't know if he's left-handed or right-handed. Let me check. Nobody cares. Doesn't really matter. He shoots right. I was going to say left, and I would have been stupid if I said that. So this is like a nothing trade for both teams. They're both probably going to be hot garbage next year. Arizona doing better than they did last year, I think so, with all the players they acquired. Right? I think so. I think they're going to be better than they were, right? I'm making this thing drag on so long because there's not a lot to talk about. Vegas Golden Knights, best team, undefeated. They're on pace to score 1 billion goals this season. And it's fantastic. Go Vegas. Go Vegas. Go Vegas. And there's no questions. Nobody asked any questions. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask on my Twitter, my YouTube, because I will be posting this on SoundCloud. I'm not done talking yet. I ain't done talking yet. Don't even let me. I'm not saying goodbye yet. I'll never say goodbye to you. Go follow my Facebook. It's the Three Thumbs Up podcast. Just type that in. I'll put the URL, I'm so fancy, in the description. Blah, 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 blah. Ask some questions. Ask whatever you want. Ask anything hockey related. Ask anything any related. And here are some way, way, way too early predictions from the analyst, the Beatty Man, as I'm taking off my glasses very fancily. That's not a word. I'm sorry. I'm the fancy man. The Art Rosh next year is going to be won by Vladimir Tarasenko because Vladimir Tarasenko always wins it in NHL 18 in the first season. The Vezina is going to be won by Vancouver All-Star Jakob Markstrom. He's going to have a .930 save percentage with a 1.2 goals against. James North is going to be won by Justin Falk. Not the Justin Falk you're thinking of, but the other Justin Falk without the U. He plays for, like, Buffalo or whatever. I don't even know. President's Trophy is going to be won by Tampa Bay because I really want to jinx them. Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, they're going to win the Stanley Cup year one. Blah, 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 blah. Stanley Cup final via NHL 18 exclusive. This is predicting it. Is it going to be the Pens versus the Ans, the Anaheim Ducks, in the first, not the first Stanley, the Stanley Cup Finals? Pittsburgh's going to win 3 in a row because apparently Pittsburgh's hungry for a three-peat. Isn't every team hungry for a three-peat? I would say. Right? What team is like, no, I just don't like winning? The Leafs of a couple years ago. The Arizona Coyotes. Blah, 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 blah. The New York Islanders. I'm sorry. I was roasting a lot more people today, so you missed it. Too bad. Get over it. Those are my way too early Stanley Cup predictions. Book it. Markstrom, Tarasenko, Justin Falk, Tampa Bay, Pens, Ducks, Stanley Cup Final. You've been listening to the Beatty Man. Have a fantastic day whenever you're listening to this. I love listening to my voice, so I don't really care if there's anybody listening. I talk to myself for an hour, so get over it. Speak to you later. Ciao.